So health psychologist here, and let's take a second to talk about teenagers. So 50%, 1 in 2 teenagers has really significant needle fear and anxiety, enough to change their healthcare decisions. And this is also the age where providers and parents kind of decide that they are too old for this and say things like they're too old for this and don't be a baby and just suck it up. Even though that fear typically comes from really negative experiences before. Now, as a psychologist, please, please, please don't do that. Because these are the phrases that sink in. They go to that deep, dark place in our brain and turn into shame. And shame does absolutely nobody any good. And these are the phrases that they talk about on the couch of someone like myself years later, or even worse, don't talk about on a couch of someone like myself years later, and they suffer silently. And it becomes a barrier to truly what is a very solvable problem, and one that has really negative outcomes on their health and their well-being, which we can all agree is not a good thing. So let's take a second to talk about what you can do and say, both as a teenager or a parent of one of those teenagers. Okay, so what can we say to kids and teenagers instead of shaming them when there's needle fear and anxiety? Well, definitely the best way to go is to empathize and normalize. So what does that mean? First one is to let them know that lots of kids have these issues. In fact, 50% of teenagers have enough needle fear to change their healthcare decisions. So we can say things exactly like that to say, you know what, totally makes sense you feel this way. In fact, 1 in 4 adults struggles with this issue, and at least half of the kids you know do too, even though they probably don't talk about it. So that said, we really can't let it get in the way of you making good healthcare decisions for yourself. But let's talk about it and let's figure out the ways that we can help you feel more confident and comfortable and in control so you can take care of yourself in the way that we need to. So this is the type of thing that you're going to say that both allows them to step away from the shame and the I'm the only one and I suck and I'm terrible aspect of it, and also realize there's a path out. So it's not about just sucking it up. It's about figuring out a plan that actually can change the way they feel about the experience. So what goes into that plan? Well, let's move on to that part. All right. So what can teenagers do to feel more comfortable and in control when they have to go get a medical procedure? Well, so glad you asked, because it turns out that there are a ton of research-proven strategies that really work. And they really all take advantage of the fact that being a teenager is all about independence and taking more control over our lives and our experience, which is exactly how it should be. As a matter of fact, we built an app for teenagers called Take Control. And in it, you can actually learn not only the what of the strategies and the why that they work, but how you actually do them. Because we can talk about things like numbing cream, vibration, breathing strategies, connection, but unless you know how to actually do them, well, then it doesn't really matter. So in the app, you actually scroll through, learn about each strategy, get the breakdown on them, and then favorite them when it works for you, if that seems the thing that you want to do. And then at the end, you actually can forward that plan to yourself along with all the tools and things you need to actually make it happen. Because that is really at the key of this. Action is the enemy of anxiety. And so it's not about sucking it up, it's about skills. And we can give you those. All right, so one last note about kind of teenagers and anxiety and medical procedures. Because despite the fact that everything we're talking about and all the strategies we're talking about are completely in line with best practice guidelines and what should be happening according to every major medical org in the world, there's still a pretty darn good chance that the medical provider you're dealing with might not know about them. And as a matter of fact, you might get some pushback on actually using them. So I want to encourage you to use your voice. If you're a parent, you're going to need to potentially advocate and speak up for your child. And as a teenager, you're going to have to stand up for yourself. We want you to be kind. We want you to be respectful. We want you to be collaborative. But know that you have a really important role in healthcare. And you are in charge of yourself and your body. So use that voice. And for parents, know that when your kid knows that you have their back, it really lowers their anxiety and helps them do what they need to do to take care of themselves. Good luck out there. Thanks.